Grab your iPhone right now. Press and hold the Safari app. You may be able to remove it from the home screen, but you probably won't find an option that lets you delete it completely from the iPhone. Now, imagine someone else holding an iPhone exactly like yours, but they are located in the European Union or Japan. They press the same Safari icon, and they see an option that you don't have: delete app. They can completely delete Safari. You can't. Same company, same operating system, and roughly the same amount of money paid for the device, but completely different rights, just because each of you lives in a different place. So why did Apple allow Europe and Japan to permanently delete Safari, but deny that option to the United States and most of the world? And more importantly, is Safari really necessary for the iPhone to function? Or was Apple able to allow its removal like long ago, but only did it when it was forced to? First, let me make it clear that we are not talking about hiding the app from the home screen, because removing Safari from the home screen does not mean you deleted it. The app remains on the device, and you can still find it in the app library or through search. We are talking about real deletion. The app itself disappears. Your browsing history and website data stored on the device are deleted. And if you need it again later, you will have to download it again from the App Store. Apple itself confirms that the additional option to delete Safari is available to users in the European Union and on iPhone only in Japan. Before deleting it, you must install an alternative browser and set it as the default browser. And this is where the question becomes more serious. If the iPhone can still function after Safari is deleted, why are you and I not allowed to delete it? The story began when the European Union decided that giant technology companies had gained far too much control. Apple makes the iPhone. It owns iOS. It controls the App Store. And it installs Safari on the device. For many years, Apple decided what you could install, what you could delete, and how competing apps could reach you. So the European Union introduced a law called the Digital Markets Act. The law targeted dominant companies, also known as gatekeepers. And the message was clear. You should not be allowed to own the device, the operating system, the store, and the default service. Then make it harder for other services to compete with yours. The law required gatekeepers to allow competing apps and app stores, make it easier to change default apps, and stop blocking alternatives from reaching users. And after the legal pressure, Apple began opening parts of the system that had been closed for years. Alternative app stores, different browser engines, a screen for choosing the default browser, and eventually, the ability to delete Safari itself. And the proof is not just analysis or accusation. Apple officially stated that the changes it made to iOS, Safari, and the App Store in the European Union were introduced to comply with the Digital Markets Act. That means Apple itself says the changes are connected to European law. Put more simply, Apple did not wake up one day and say, let's give users more freedom. That freedom appeared in the region where a law forced the rules to change. But the truly interesting part is that this freedom did not reach every user. It only reached the region that forced Apple to provide it. And that means the iPhone in your hand is technically capable of functioning without the Safari app. Apple has already developed a way to delete it. It has developed a way to download it again, and it created a system that allows web pages to continue opening inside apps even after Safari is deleted. So Deleting it is not impossible, and it is not a feature that requires a different iPhone. The feature exists, but it is locked by region, and this raises the question Apple needs to answer. If deleting Safari is an available option for a European user, why should it not be available to every other user who paid for the device? After Europe, Japan entered the picture. Japan introduced a law to promote competition in smartphone software, and iPhone users in Japan also became able to delete Safari completely. So the same thing happened again. A region introduces a strong competition law, and then users receive options that Apple had not previously given them. Apple has a different point of view. The company says that opening iOS to alternative app stores, browser engines, and installation methods could introduce new risks, such as malicious apps, fraud, data theft, and unsafe content. Apple says it is adding layers of protection to reduce those risks, but it cannot eliminate them completely. And that is a genuinely important debate. But deleting Safari itself is different from downloading an unknown app from an untrusted source. Because before you can delete Safari, you must already have an alternative browser installed and set as the default. And after the deletion, the iPhone does not stop working. Apps can still display web pages through the in-app browsing system. And you can download Safari again from the App Store at any time. So the argument that Safari cannot be deleted because the system would collapse is no longer convincing, because we now know the system does not collapse. The option already exists. It just does not exist for everyone. And this story is not only about Safari. Safari is just a small example that reveals something much bigger. Apple can open its system more, and it can give users additional choices, but the company often prefers to make these changes only in markets where it is legally forced to do so. And that creates a very strange world. The same company sells a device worldwide, but it does not give every customer the same level of control. One user has the right to delete the app. Another user does not have that right. Not because of what they bought, but because of where they live. In the end, the real question is not, is Safari a good browser or a bad browser? The question is, after you pay the full price of the iPhone, should Apple have the right to decide which apps must remain on it? Or should you be the one who makes the final decision? Write your opinion in the comments. Should Apple allow every iPhone user around the world to delete Safari? Or do you think some system apps should remain protected and impossible to delete? And don't forget to share this video with anyone who owns an iPhone, because most users do not know that their rights on the exact same device can change depending on the country they live in.